Good morning. You're watching Business Today. Thanks for tuning in to UBC. And this morning of Tuesday, the 10th July 2012. And this program is sponsored by Makere Institute for Social Development. As you know, it's your usual business program. Hope you enjoy it. And today we have a special episode. We are talking about something very, very important to you. We are talking about health. Now, all of us have very many considerations about different things, but we cannot overemphasize the importance of health. And in particular today, we're talking about health and business. And with me in the studio, we are blessed to have the presence of a knowledgeable person about the health industry. And that's Dr. Sanjay Advani, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Shelys Africa Group, and he's based in Nairobi, Kenya. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Very nice to have you around, and I hope you're enjoying your stay here in Uganda.
Very much, very much.
How has it been?
Very good. The weather is good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the people are nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The same with Kenya?
Same with Kenya, yeah.
Somewhere. Yeah. It's very nice to have you around, sir. And obviously, we're talking about health. When you talk about health, our governments in Africa for a long time had been trying as much as possible to see that they give the best health prospects for their populations. It's a challenge. It's an ongoing challenge. There are very many partners, international partners, development organizations, NGOs working together to see that that's the case. And indeed, the funding and the medicines and everything has been fair of recent, has been going up, but there's still challenges. For example, people say we cannot rely on donor funds forever. There is need for sustainability. There is need to develop local pharmaceutical industries or medicine industries. In general, before we go deeper, in general, what do you think about the African health sector, the challenges there, and your experiences?
To make the healthcare more sustainable, for the products to become more economical, what we require is more number of manufacturing facilities in these countries. But now, even if you see the East African community, we have in Kenya, we have around 36 manufacturing units manufacturing pharmaceutical products.
Okay.
You go to Tanzania, there are 6 manufacturing units. Mm-hmm. You come to Uganda, I think there are 5.
Yeah.
So, to make the business more sustainable, what is required is to have more number of manufacturing facilities in the country, other than relying on imports from outside Africa.
Absolutely.
So that's what's required.
I think that's a view that is shared by very many stakeholders in Africa here, but obviously there are challenges in terms of infrastructure, for example. Even then, when we try to manufacture some of these products here, we have to import some of the materials that we have to use in the medicines themselves. So there are still some challenges. I think it's going to take some time, but in this respect, you are the Chief Executive Officer of a major pharmaceutical company. What do you think is the role? What's the role? What should be the strategic approach, the mindset of organizations like yours who are there to make as a business, but also obviously have a responsibility to see that the industry is sustainable?
For example, for Shelys Africa Group, we have 2 manufacturing units. One is in Tanzania, the other one is in Kenya.
Yeah.
The unit in Kenya is known by the name of Beta Healthcare.
Yeah.
In Tanzania, we have a company called Shelys Pharmaceuticals. Now, both these companies, if you see, they are the largest in those countries where the pharma businesses are concerned. They're large companies. Mm-hmm. And both these companies are owned by, 100% owned by a very large pharma company called Aspen Holdings.
Aspen
Holdings, which is situated in South Africa. Mm-hmm. Now, you see, the biggest challenge as a country, as a consumer, as the government one faces is that, we have around 70% of the products which are imported.
Yeah.
Now, the companies are situated all over the world and the products are imported. And what happens is there are so-called people who try and take advantage, who come out with duplicate products and send it. And there is no way for the companies who are in US, Europe, and wherever to find out whether their products are getting duplicated. And where it comes into Africa.
It's a very big
So
problem.
it's a very big problem. We read it in papers every day that there are duplicate products coming in. So the biggest, but it does not happen to the company which is based in Africa, because they have a field force, they have workers, they have number of people working with them. So those kind of products are not counterfeited. But the products coming from outside
are counterfeited.
Are
So you say that you have some kind of advantage from the big pharmaceutical companies like in Europe, Western Europe, which produce drugs for our markets, because for you are stationed in Africa, you know how everything works, you know exactly, you're more, used to the situations.
Absolutely, and you will rarely find local companies' products being counterfeited. Rare.
Yeah.
But most of the time you'll hear about a company from outside Africa
doing that. Yeah.
The products are counterfeited.
Yeah, it's very hard, obviously, if you're outside Africa. It's a bit hard to police, to be there in the market every day to see if your products are being counterfeited. But nevertheless, it's a very big problem. But before we go deeper into all these issues, better healthcare is obviously under Shelys now. Shelys Africa at the moment, and Shelys is under aspect. So there's a whole chain of acquisitions, of mergers, and all that kind of thing, which is actually a trend now in the pharmaceutical industry. I think probably maybe because of the benefits of the vertical integration kind of thing.
See, as I earlier said, what's happening is people need to align towards the strength of each company. Now, there are a lot of companies all over the world which have a good manufacturing facilities, but they do not have Africa as a market.
Yeah.
So they can take an advantage of a company in Africa, manufacturing unit, wherein they can align, they can get into kind of an R&D kind of a tie-up, they can get into a type of marketing, they can get into a type of distribution. So those are the alignments that using each other's strengths and taking the business forward. So that's what's happening, and pharma industry especially, it's more.
Absolutely. But in particular, better healthcare has been here in Uganda for some time now, and it's very well established in Kenya. Most people might be buying drugs from you and all that, but they don't know much about better healthcare. What is it? What can you tell us more about it, the brief history and how it has started?
See, Beta Healthcare was earlier Boots from UK.
Okay.
So the name got changed in, say, somewhere around 2003. The name changed from Boots to Beta because Boots sold off their companies all over the world.
Yeah.
So that's how it came to known as Beta. And in 2008, Aspen took over Beta's 60% shareholding.
Okay, right.
And it is only this year that they took over 100% shareholding. Beta is basically, because it has its roots to Boots, it manufactures basically over-the-counter products.
Yeah.
And these are the products which are advertised, and like for headache pills, like we have here.
Some of your products.
Some of our products, like Action.
Action, yeah.
Yeah, which is an headache pill, manufactured again at the Nairobi facility. But we have an office and a distribution network, a warehouse in Uganda also. In Uganda, yeah. Right. We have a complete field force. We have so that's how it is. We have some more products we have Maramol, which is again another product which has been there.
Action is actually a big brand. It has been there for a long time.
I think it's one of the biggest brands in Uganda
yeah,
today.
Most people would buy it. You wouldn't know that Bitter Health is the one which manufactures it.
Exactly.
And you have another, I think, Good Morning as well.
Yeah, we have a Good Morning, which is for cough and cold. It's herbal in nature. So we have a whole range of products which are being marketed in Uganda.
Which are being marketed.
Yeah.
And obviously, you mentioned something important. Boots. If Boots is the one which you use to own Better Healthcare, and Boots is a very big brand, especially in Europe. It's one of the most reliable in terms of quality standards. Not only that, but in corporate social responsibility, in how it deals with its workers and everything. So hopefully, if you've taken that up and you have those systems in place, then it must be a very nice place. place to work.
Yes, it is, and you know, Aspen, which is the holding company for Beta Healthcare, they believe in quality. They don't compromise in quality. So when they acquired Beta, the first thing they wanted to put up a state-of-the-art manufacturing facility.
Yeah.
So at that point of time, in 2008, we bought over Colgate-Palmolive plant in Nairobi.
Okay.
We refurbished it, and today you can come and see it. It's one of the most beautiful, most elegant, state-of-the-art plant.
I would like to. I would like to. What's the capacity of the plant? What's the area of operation? Where are you looking at supplying?
See, we manufacture in that facility tablets, syrups, powders, external applications. So we have a whole range of products, and our target with Beta Healthcare is to have the presence in whole of Eastern and Central
Africa.
Yeah, we are there, but we would like the business to grow further.
Absolutely. And I think it's going to grow because if you talk about Uganda, even the surrounding countries, if you talk about in terms of population, the population is increasing very highly, and also people are even having more income, let's say, to buy the drugs a little bit, not from the governments or anything like that, but individually. So you can still market directly. So in terms of opportunities with these markets, the Central African region, what do you think, or what are the prospects? What do you think of the opportunities?
Prospects are big, and that's the reason companies from all over are trying to get into these markets. But we need to be a little bit careful. See, we need to learn a lot from our other neighboring countries, like in Nigeria. Nigeria has got around 90 products, combinations, that are banned for imports. Why?
Okay.
Because they want the local businesses to become sustainable.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So the government says that, well, these are the products wherein we can manufacture in our own country, so we do not allow imports.
More imports.
The products which there is a shortage of, or we do not have the capabilities, imports are allowed.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense for the economy of a country.
It does make a lot of sense,
Yeah.
especially in terms of, for example, in generic drugs, most of the generic drugs, it goes even to patenting, you know, like some of developing countries have been saying we cannot go per se according to World Trade Organization's rule, regulations about patenting and all that, because look, we have our own medicines here that we do, we know they work, but when you bring in these issues, it's like, then you're disregarding what we can offer.
Exactly.
And we can't build capacity. We cannot continue relying on imports. So it's a good thing to see that it's an African, even though it's, acquired or it's affiliated to an big international pharmaceutical, there are advantages to that as well. But the orientation is that it's an African company, and
Exactly.
you're producing from here, giving the employment here, the raw materials and everything.
Yeah.
But on that particular point, the most important challenge here is research and development. In terms of manpower, if you go to our universities, the people who come out of university don't have the facilities to do research. So you get pharmacists, but in actual sense, they've been limited in what they do. Now that you've put up this big plant in Nairobi, Kenya, how do you plan to sustain it? Who are you going to employ in terms of, and how are you going to work, for example, with institutions of learning?
See, if you look into Africa, I'm not talking about South Africa, I'm talking about the rest of Africa. I don't think so any pharmaceutical manufacturing facility has got an R&D center. But I'm happy to inform you that Beta Healthcare has put up an R&D center, state-of-the-art R&D center, wherein we plan to use that facilities not only to do research on our products, but maybe somehow tie up with the government in East Africa, in East African countries, and or with other pharmaceutical companies, and do a lot of research work. I think our research center will be ready by end of this month, and that's what our plan is. So we will be the only company in Africa to have a research and development center.
Yeah, that's a very big achievement, and probably a multi-million investment, because the cost of innovation and research itself is a bit, high. I mean, most local organization manufacturing companies can't afford that. We have a few which are coming up and being very successful, but in terms of long term, they would get the money out, but it needs some investment from the start. And I think probably maybe your mergers with Aspen and all those kind of helps, which is a good thing for us here.
Agreed,
because shall get the drugs cheaply, hopefully.
Yeah, cheaply, better drugs, better
quality,
better quality
at good prices.
Yeah.
I hope so. So, when we talk about the pharmaceutical industry in general, people have all sorts of concerns about it. Actually, in popular culture, some people have portrayed it in different ways. They show the organization where there's a lot of things going on, influence and all that. For example, in terms of research, that some people would work to see that the products that they want are the ones that pass the researchers and all that. What's your comment on that? Are you aware of something like that?
See, it's like, when a company puts up or has a research center, a lot of money goes into it, a lot of investments, a lot of manpower, time goes into it. And then when what comes out of the research center may not be viable, it happens. Sometimes a research helps in coming out with one of the best drugs that the human beings they require.
Yeah.
So there are ifs and buts, but medicines are called drugs.
Yeah.
So I think that's the reason the word drugs gives it, but it's not so. The regulatory environment today is so strict. You come to Uganda.
Yeah.
I think in Africa, the NDA has got one of the most qualified personnels working in National Drug Authority.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So and they also come and visit our facilities. We see the kind of people come. So it's not that you can come up with shoddy drugs. All these drugs, counterfeit and whatnot, comes out of Africa. It is not manufactured in Africa. So that's it. But
that's it.
Yeah.
And there's another thing we are talk about that there's this expression they use nowadays, Me Too drugs. I think you've heard about it, whereby companies are making the same drugs, but they kind of differentiate them from branding. So basically, the customer is not getting a better choice or anything, but it's marketed as a new thing, And obviously, the proponents say, well, in terms of developing these drugs, it's much easier. It's okay if it's working. The opponents say, oh, well, if it's working, but you have to have a variety, you have to have all these. What's your view on that? Is it relevant? Is it an issue at all?
No, it's not that. It's like, say, for example, if a doctor prescribes to a patient calcium, plain calcium tablets.
Yeah.
Now what happens is, calcium gets better absorbed if it is given with vitamin D.
Okay.
Now, vitamin D comes from sun.
Yeah.
So even if you take calcium tablets and you go out in the sun, the absorption is better of the calcium.
Yeah.
But if suppose it's a rainy day, you never know when it rains, how's the weather. So normally a company says, okay, you take calcium with vitamin D, which gets absorbed properly. But a layman will think it differently. Oh, they have just written their vitamin D. Vitamin is a vitamin, and they are charging a higher price. It's not that. It's for the product to get absorbed in the body.
Absolutely. You've just mentioned something. A layman, actually, most of let's say average Ugandans, or even average Africans, most of them now think that probably maybe sometimes they get over medicated. They have just an ailment, and they find they have lots of drugs take home. There are lots of drugs on the market, even though when you're not sick, get health wellness drugs or things like that. Some of them obviously appreciate the use, and for me personally, I think if you select them well and you take them on prescription and advice, they are very good, only that we haven't been used to that exposure because we didn't have the money and the resources to do that, but some of them are good. But how do you, for example, assure them that, some of these things are not just prescribed to or pushed by pharmaceutical companies to sell more than actually to make a difference in people's lives?
See, every pharmaceutical company tries to sell more because they are into business. Now, it is not that they can sell more. It is they can take a share of the pie from the competitors. So, for example, if it's a plain headache pill, so our headache pill is Action, for example, in Uganda, and there is an X headache pill available. So it's not that the pharmaceutical company generates headache in people, what it does, it tries to take share from the competitors.
Okay.
So it's a kind of a war to take over the competition.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's how it is.
That's how it is. It's not that particular thing. Now, before we just go deeper into that side, we have a big local traditional medicine culture. For example, I don't want to call them traditional healers or anything anymore, because like for us in Uganda, we have those who are already licensed to produce actually drugs, medicine, which does help, you know, very well packaged and all that, but starting from here. And there is this concept where people talk about reverse innovation. It has happened in India, for example, in medicine in very many ways, like in heart surgery and all that, where we have all these solutions, programs or medicines which are coming from Africa instead of coming from the big countries, the developed countries, Africa, but they're coming from Africa and going upwards. Do you have any experiences of that? Have you seen that trend? Do you think it's sustainable?
You know, you're absolutely right. See, what's happening today is so-called traditional medicines.
Yeah.
You know, medicine is a medicine. It's not like an allopathic medicine or a herbal medicine, because medicine, anything that cures is a medicine.
Yeah.
Cures an ailment is a medicine.
Mm-hmm.
What happens is there are a lot of concoctions which people prepare because of some knowledge from the generations, and these medicines, I'm calling it medicine. These concoctions tries to heal an ailment, or a person, a patient gets relief from an ailment.
Yeah.
Now, most of the companies, so-called the progressing countries, they pick up these formulations, they take it to their countries, they do a lot of R&D, and they come out with the concoctions. Now, if you go to the US, you go to Europe, around 50 to 60% of the shelf of any pharmacy, you will find products of herbal nature available.
Yeah, yeah.
So the trend is going towards
Herbal nature.
Herbal
medicine and all that.
Yeah. And if you see, that is available in Africa. But the problem in Africa was where to get the documentation done for the products, where to get these products researched, where to get the clinical trials organized.
The standards.
Standards.
Yeah.
You know, because after all, if it works on an ailment, then you require documentation to prove. So that was not available in Africa.
In Africa. But indeed, we have very many working medicines, and actually in a point to make, there's I came across a book recently. It had a list of all, it was actually sponsored by the, I think you said, or UNDP, I don't remember clearly, but it's a book with all the plants in Africa that had medicinal value. And this was something which was initiated by a non-government organization from abroad, not from here, but it had almost every plant. It's there, you know, in the bookshops and all that, people can get them. And they were saying, please conserve these plants because this is where the medicine is got.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And traditionally, people used to know these medicines, but now in our generation, no one knows about that, and the trees are getting cut and all that. So, what do you think is the importance of environmentalism and conservation? You as a pharmaceutical companies, do you have something that you are doing towards that? Do you sponsor any kind of thing like that?
We have recently, since the last 2 years, we have been working on herbal medicines.
Okay.
And we have a range of herbal medicines that we are offering to our customers. It's from various, it starts from a small problem with the stomach, loose motion, to it clears ailments to bigger side of the problems. But what we do is, when we get these formulations, we get it analyzed, we get it documented, we have the clinical trial reports, and then make it into good packaging and then offer it into to the markets. Yeah. We have launched, in fact, we are getting those products registered even in Uganda as well. So you will find, as a group from the Aspen side of the business, a lot of these kind of products will be offered. Now, if somebody has a concoction saying that, well, this particular mixture of these 3-4 herbs can clear an ailment, we would be too happy to take it in our R&D center, get it analyzed, and work on it, so that we have herbal-based products from Africa, which have grown in Africa, and then take it to the world.
Yeah, but obviously that will need a lot of,
Yeah.
of work on research and development, as clinical trials, and support from different stakeholders, obviously. Just shortly this, we are going to hear from our sponsors. Just if you've joined us, you're watching BBC Business Today, and in the studio we have Dr. Sanjay Anjani, who's the Chief Executive Officer of Shelys Africa Group, taking us through the pharmaceutical industry, your health, and obviously talking about his company's organization, what they are doing for the industry at the moment. And we are taking a short break at the moment, and when we come back we shall look more about the industry and where we are going, especially how we're going to benefit from this in Uganda.
Another heavyweight contest begins. In the blue corner, we have Mr. Action! And in the red corner, we have the headache. And the action begins. Action delivers a left to headache. What a hit! An uppercut to the right. Wow! And the final hit knocks headache down. Mr. Action has proven he is the best. Knockout headaches with Action. If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
Introducing Herbal Better medicated lozenges. Fast, effective, and soothing action for sore throats with ginger mint flavor. Better, the herbal remedy for sore throats. If symptoms persist, consult your doctor.
Watching UBC TV, inspiring Uganda.
Welcome back. You're watching UBC Business Today, and just to let you know that again, that this show is sponsored by Makerere Institute of Social Development. And if you just joined us, we had a very interesting discussion about health, about pharmaceuticals, and with me in the studio, we are blessed with the presence of Dr. Sanjay Anjani, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Shelys Africa Group. We've been talking about the industry in general, and Dr. Sanjay, I think, probably enjoying this, but in particular, I noticed you showed us some products there earlier, and I thought we could look them again, because I just wanted you to explain to us what, for example, when you make mergers and you make acquisitions, and you have these different products from different companies. For example, let's say you had a Better Healthcare product, you had a Shelys product, you had an Aspen product. How, for example, does it mean that you're going to change the strategic approach in how you market these things? For example, some of these products could have been competing on the shelves, and people have different brands in their mindset, thinking that this is manufactured by so-and-so. I like it because it's manufactured so-and-so. I like it because it's manufactured by so-and-so. How do you integrate the process? How of a challenge is it to integrate the brands and the process as well?
Okay. I'll start with, like, for example, we were talking about the herbal products.
Yeah.
Now, this product is called Zoom.
Yeah.
It's 100% herbal.
600?
It's 100% herbal. It has no chemicals in it.
Wow,
right?
okay.
Yeah. Now, this is an aphrodisiac.
Okay.
Now, what happens is, it's called Zoom.
Zoom.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, what happens is, if for example, people suffering with diabetes,
yeah.
suffering with hypertension,
Yeah.
Now, if a person is suffering, they require drugs. But when they're taking drugs, their libido goes down.
Yeah, absolutely. That's,
now what
that's
to do?
very common. Yeah. You have to look for Zoom.
You have to look for Zoom.
That's a very nice product. I'm sure maybe some
and it has no side effects because
it's completely herbal.
It's completely herbal.
You know, we have traditional herbal medicines which actually aphrodisiacs naturally. I think almost in every African country you can get them, even in India and Pakistan, or tropics and all that kind of thing. But about the integration, for example, where is this a better health product?
It's a better healthcare product.
What about the Good Morning, for example?
This Good Morning it's a old product of Beta Healthcare.
Yeah.
And it's been manufactured for decades, but it's a Beta Healthcare product.
Yeah,
now your question about various companies that we are getting into tie-ups, into strategic alliances.
Yeah.
We recently have got into a strategic alliance with a very large company from India called Pletico.
Pletico.
Yeah. Now, Pletico had a presence in Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania. In fact, they have their presence in whole of Africa. But we got into a tie-up with them because we wanted to use their manufacturing facility. They have got an excellent manufacturing facilities for products that we do not manufacture here.
Okay.
So we got into a strategic alliance wherein we have taken over their complete. They manufacture for us, and we market, distribute, we do all the promotions for them. So it's a strategic alliance. So we have got into a strategic
marketing alliance kind of thing.
Marketing, product development. It's a whole lot of an alliance. Then there's another very large company from India called Anglo-French, which was the erstwhile Roche from Switzerland. So the name got changed, now it's called Anglo-French.
Yeah.
We've got into an alliance with them as well, a strategic alliance with them. So we are taking over their brands, marketing it, distributing it in the whole of Africa. So,
maybe we should say that just on that note, India is one of the upcoming countries. In terms of research and development, almost already the Western world is relying on it on very many aspects. On IT, for example, where it has, I think now it's probably a market leader, almost. But also in medicine. We've had very many medicines from India in the past, but obviously people would talk about quality. India and China, they would say, oh, no, if medicine from India or China, if you go to the shops, that's poor quality. I have to first see if I can get one from Germany or from, another. But the mindset is changing because people are realizing that, hey, look, actually, these countries are taking over all these companies that we have over there, European. And those are important strategic alliances, I think, for the future.
Yeah, for example, syrups. Syrup has 90% water. Any syrup, liquid. 90%
water.
Yeah, and the rest are chemicals and other things. Now, shipping it all the way from India to the syrup doesn't make sense.
It doesn't, not at all.
So what we are offering to the large pharmaceutical companies from Africa, we are in Africa, we are telling them, fine, we have got a beautiful factory. This factory is approved by most of the regulatory authorities.
Okay.
Come and see it. Why don't you manufacture these products instead of shipping water?
Yeah, or instead of shipping water,
you get it manufactured in our plant. And we have a fantastic distribution network. We have a fantastic marketing. It's a marketing organization. Use us so it's a tie-up. It makes sense.
It makes sense, absolutely. I'm talking about distribution and marketing in particular. If you go to Europe, for example, this has been raised as one of the controversies because of the if you're not directly marketing the consumer. They are, like, for example, you're marketing or you're selling to institutions, public health institutions, let's say the NHS in Britain, for example. And those are the big public health insurance companies come in and all that. And people say that sometimes, because these organizations are mighty, they influence which drugs are going to be prescribed using formularies and all that kind of thing. They, for example, people would say, oh, if you're taking that drug, health insurance, we are not going to give you insurance. You've seen that happen somewhere because it's dangerous. Or, for example, big organization in Uganda, let's say, national medical stores would say, oh, we only take these products for this kind of thing. What's the role of such kind of bodies? How of a challenge is it to work with them? And what's your view on the matter generally?
See, as I had earlier said, every country needs to give out a certain a price preferential treatment to a local company.
Okay.
Now, by a local company, we need to see East Africa as a whole.
Yeah.
So for example, if there's a tender coming out in Uganda, there should be a kind of a situation where they say, if this product is manufactured in Africa,
yeah,
this will be the preferential treatment that will be given.
that will be given. Yeah.
Yeah. So with that, what happens is more and more African companies start supplying. And the business becomes more sustainable, the economy becomes more sustainable.
Yeah.
So those are the things which one needs to use.
Yeah, so you're saying in a way, actually, instead of becoming a controversy, actually it's a good thing. And you mentioned a good point there, because some people have said, oh, these people who actually spread those rumors that, in Europe and all that are the people who want us to open our markets to all these big pharmaceuticals.
Exactly.
And we never developed. So
Exactly.
there is a good part of it to
Yeah.
that aspect. And yeah, it's good to know about that as well. But in Africa at the moment, which is the leading country in terms of manufacturing these pharmaceuticals and all that?
It's Nigeria.
Not South Africa?
I mean, I'm not talking about South Africa as of now. South Africa is, of course, large, but if in terms of population, if you see, it's 150 million population in Nigeria.
Yeah.
It's in Africa. It's got the largest population.
It has it's
The
most
second one is
populous nation.
Ethiopia. So, and if you see the number of manufacturing facilities in Nigeria is phenomenal.
It's phenomenal.
Why? Because the support from the government.
Okay.
The government does not allow certain type of drugs to be imported if the local manufacturing have the capabilities to manufacture. Of doing that.
Yeah.
So those are the things we need to look at.
You're very right. And I think, but it takes a lot of will, it takes a lot of leadership, because the pharmaceutical industry itself is very complex. It has very many stakeholders, always with conflicting kind of reports. They say this is going to work, this NGOs say this, government say this, public policy bodies say the other. So you get all these policies which are contradicting each other, and I think it's a matter of will and leadership and saying we are going for this.
Exactly, and it's a highly regulated business.
Yeah.
I can't sell, if a product is manufactured in Tanzania, I cannot sell it in Kenya unless the Ministry of Health personnel come and inspect the factory and give it an approval.
Yeah.
So for any product to come into a country, to a nearby country, it takes 1 to 2 years for it to get registered. So it's an intensive, regulated business model. So if somebody wants to put up an infrastructure, the government needs to go all out and support them.
Completely. On that issue, let's talk about the Ugandan market in particular. What do you see in the Ugandan market at the moment? You've just come. What are your plans for Uganda? Better Health, obviously, has been here for some time, but I understand you have more plans you're thinking of, and obviously in the context of the integration that's going on in East Africa very soon, hopefully. We think we might be one country economically, in economic sense at least, not politically. What are your strategies? What do you think you're going to? What should Ugandans expect from Better Health?
We have a factory in Tanzania. We have a factory in Kenya. We may look into acquiring or getting into a kind of a tie-up with companies in Uganda as well. There's a possibility.
There's a possibility.
Yeah. But as of now, we do have infrastructure here. We have an office, we have warehouses, we have a complete marketing and distribution team. Systems are in place. And all the companies that are under the Aspen Group are somehow marketing their products in Uganda. But Uganda is more of a generic market, wherein it's not a branded market per se. I mean, even if you see the difference, brands will be around 10 to 15%. The rest is all generic.
Absolutely.
So it is very different to the market that's in Kenya. Kenya is more of a branded. I'm talking about pharmaceuticals. It's more of a brand-oriented market. Uganda is not. But I think with companies in East Africa, if they work together and try to make the business sustainable, Uganda also needs to be a brand-oriented market where pharmaceuticals are concerned.
So there is a difference between Kenya and Uganda. Most people obviously compare us as the same almost in terms of income. Kenya obviously a bit higher, but like regionally, people tend to make a mistake to think that these are the same markets, but as you identified, so you have a different strategic approach to the Kenyan market than you have for Uganda.
See, we manufacture only brands. We don't manufacture generics.
Okay, right.
So basically, we have been working in Uganda for so many years. We have not introduced any generics. We introduce brands, and it is growing.
It's growing.
So it shows that, well, Ugandans themselves are also becoming brand conscious. They decide from which company's products they want to buy, which brand they want to buy. So it is moving towards a brand orientation as of now.
Yeah. And as far as I know, okay, all these pharmaceutical companies like Aspen, like Boots, for example, which Better Health originally used to belong to, also alongside the brands manufacture like food, like good food, organic food, for example, baby food, like formula milk and all that kind of thing. Do you do that at Better Health?
Yes, we have a very, very large formulations. They are called infant milk formulations. The brand name is Infacare.
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 Okay, right.
And we have recently introduced in Uganda as well. It's now close to a year that we've introduced Infacare.
Infacare.
Yeah, it is manufactured in our South Africa facility, which is one of the state-of-the-art facility.
Yeah. I've seen it in videos. And photos.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Impressive,
so we manufacture it there, and we have offered it into the East African markets as well, and it's picking up. It's doing quite well. And this particular product, we have tried to make it very affordable, so that most of the competing products are expensive. So we have tried to make it affordable so that people can.
Most competing products are expensive because they are imported from that long, people.
Long and but I mean, if one can give an economical product, and the company also makes little profit, there's nothing wrong.
No, not at all.
No, so you make your profits through volumes.
Yes, through volumes. I'm saying, I'm not talking about importing it from South Africa. South Africa is Africa. I'm talking about what has been coming like from Europe and all that. But obviously, that would need a lot in terms of standardization. There are very many concerns, as I said earlier, about the pharmaceutical industry because people rely on it so much. So people think that there should be integrity, ethics, and all that should be prime and goals. So about Better Health, what's your corporate responsibility profile in general? What have you tried to do?
Aspen as a group, first of all, ethics is very important to them. We don't believe in giving 1 shilling bribe as well.
Oh yeah,
and it's taken up very seriously. Where the quality of products are concerned, it has to be top quality. We don't compromise on that.
And on which standards? International standards.
International standards. So we come from there. Plus, the other thing also which Aspen looks in is to bring out products which are affordable.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. So.
Which is very important for our markets here. I think that's prime.
This Infacare, what we have been talking about, I mean, you go to the marketplace, you go to the biggest supermarkets here, you will find our infant milk formulation comparatively cheaper, economical to the other competitors. But the quality if it's not the same, it's better.
You would say that, absolutely. So people should go there and try Infacare because it's also a challenge. It's hard for a brand to penetrate. It takes some time, but obviously I think if it's an African brand, people will support it more. People are actually understanding more and more that we have to support our own industries here.
Agreed.
There are all these pressure groups that we give opportunities to, like media, for example, to come and talk about each and everything on the program. We are very, very, happy to be around. But what's your experience with UBC? You're not from here, you're not from Kenya. How are you working with them at the moment?
I come to Uganda. We have, as I told you, we have an infrastructure here. So I visit Uganda every month. I'm here for 3
every month.
Days. Yeah, every month I'm here for 3-4 days. And it's a very important market for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's important that I'm sitting with you here today.
Very nice. Thank you very much on that. But I think probably maybe we're happy to have you around, and that's all the time we had for. And please for our viewers who have been watching, hope you enjoyed the discussion. In the studio we had Dr. Sanjay Advani, who again I have to say is the Chief Executive Officer of Shelys Africa Group, which also owns Data Healthcare and is also in works obviously is affiliated to Aspen International, which is a big company, and we are very privileged to have him around to tell us about pharmacy and health and the business around it. Hope you enjoyed the occasion. Any other last words?
I would say thank you. I love to be in Uganda.
You love to be in Uganda. You're welcome. You're already in Uganda anyway. Thanks you for having me around. But that's all we had for today, and hope to see you next time on Friday, probably. Have a nice day. Thank you for tuning in.